Hello, everybody. Just getting ready to begin. This is session 3 of the Imris Saga. I'm joined, well, I was going to say I'm joined as always by the cast, but that's not true. We're down a member. Unfortunately, I mentioned this on the Discord if somebody's watching who's not in the Discord, or for, in the past. Sean had to be out for 3 weeks due to work-related stuff, which is why at the end of the last episode, their character kind of separated from the group. When they come back, we'll slide them back in and everything. But for now, we're going to be one person short, so we're just with the 4 people. But hopefully you're already familiar. We've got Sara playing Andormedia, Charlie playing Sulveran, Jack playing Will, and Marisa playing Uba, everybody's favorite murderous homicidal kobold.
The D of the group.
Yeah. You gotta have a little bit of chaos in every D&D stream. All right, so I'll do a quick recap again. At the end of last session, there was the whole interrogation scene, and after that happened, the group kind of laid low for a little bit, for about a week. Cala continued to do some research on the book, and they discovered / realized that perhaps the best thing to do would be to seek out a particular figure who might be able to help you guys, who might have some better answers than just researching in the library might give. So you were told to go on a quest to find the Shimmering Scholar, a emerald dragon who lives in Imris, and is somewhat well known, but a very mysterious figure nonetheless. The Sean Alveron elected to stay behind and protect Cala, while the 4 of you went on to journey to find this dragon. You left Karad, and that's basically where we're gonna pick up. So you guys have boarded a river barge. Medea has purchased a horse. I'm forgetting now. There was some talk. Did Uba end up getting a pony or not?
So we were discussing it actually, and I've decided that Uba is actually terrified of horses. So that is a no.
Okay, well, that makes sense. Sorry, I'm just changing the stream title.
I do forget how small Uba is sometimes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Tiny.
Oh, yeah.
So you guys are on this boat right now, kind of heading across the lake. It's a pretty long lake. I'll actually maybe see if the map this time. Brought you over there. Nope, that's the wrong one. That was maps. Okay. Hopefully it will eventually get there. Wait a second. So you're heading out of Karad, heading downstream towards people are starting to enter in, but for the stream's sake, I will ping it again. This area, right where the Alathanian Spur meets the Core Mountains, the Northern Core Mountains. And you know that this river barge is going to take you to Forum, which is where you're going to disembark and then go by land. That's kind of the easiest route, the plan that you've elected to go with. As you're going along the river barge, I'm just kind of curious. What are people doing? I know this is everybody's been on a river barge at this point in this group, because I think all of you took it into the city. So now you're heading back out. But Will, you're on somewhat familiar territory, but not exactly. You're not as used to being able to see like a coastline all the time, and the ship is very different. It's not like a big masted sailing ship. What would they be doing on this journey? It'll take a few days to get there, basically.
I think Will spends like the mornings practicing with her new sword and trying to. She she would use her rapier with a lot of the slashes of a scimitar, but now that she's holding a scimitar, she uses a lot of the very pointed thrusts of a rapier. So she's trying to iron that out of how she uses weapons. Other than that, she probably just uses she's very used to just spending full days on a ship without doing anything, going through the motions. So she's using that time to, I think, kind of categorize how she feels about different things. She's probably not spending a huge amount of time with the rest of the group. She'll check in on Uber and stuff to make sure that Uber's fine. But probably is just spending a lot of time introspectively thinking about the last few days.
Okay, so we kind of see Will off in different parts of the ship at various times. Uba, what would you be getting up to or trying to get up to? There are a couple people who, just to give you a layout of the barge, most of the people are just travelers heading downstream. Some of them have some cargo that they're taking, but this isn't like a particular merchant vessel, so it's not like one guy moving a bunch of stuff. It's mostly just travelers. So there's some people absentmindedly fishing off the side as you guys are just going along. The sailors are just running around, mostly humans actually, but there's a couple. There's a few dwarves obviously on the crew, as well as a couple of fellow kobolds for you, Uba. Although these are much more acclimatized ones to the city life.
I think if that's the case, Uba is probably going around and telling their tall tales to anyone that'll listen, whether
Okay.
they want to listen or not. So they're probably going around and regaling people with stories of their bounty hunting and some of their adventures, but not including this one, just to make sure there's nobody following them or anything. They're also probably. Did you say Medea already bought the horse?
Yes, I believe so.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, so Uba is trying to stay as far away from the horse as possible. So wherever that is, Uba is actively avoiding, but I think they're probably a bit antsy on the boat because I imagine there's not a crazy amount to do, so they're probably just chatting people up, but not in the most eloquent way. Just like, hey, did I tell you about the time I killed a druid? Like that.
Uba is that one guy at the bar who just wants to talk about
Yeah.
themselves the whole time.
Yeah, not very tactful, but a little self-centered and trying to chat people up that way the whole time.
All right. We get a couple scenes of Upa with some random passengers. There is a human woman who's quite taken with your stories, and so you have at least one attentive audience member at pretty much the whole trip. They never seem to get tired, even though you kind of have to repeat yourself once or twice because you just run out of stories eventually. Sulveran, what are you doing on this 4-day journey? This is the second time ever that you've been on a boat of any sort. Second time ever.
Second time I've been on a larger boat. And so Sulveran really enjoys the boat. Not that you can tell by looking at him, but you might if you notice the fact that he's constantly kind of walking the rails, looking out at the lake. He is spending a lot of time just sort of haunting Medea, as he normally does, just silent, straight over their shoulder, very large.
Yeah.
Like an extremely large dog.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But occasionally he'll also be seen listening to Uba. But he's an attentive audience, but he's not a very reactive audience. So while Uba goes through his tales of, adventure and bounty hunting, he'll ask questions. But there's none of the cheering and clapping that some of the others, sort of things Alveron might do, for instance. About on the let's call it third day, he is going to probably be seeking out Will, but think that might be better wait, like maybe that moment should wait until we know what Medea is doing, or now. I don't
Sure. Yeah, Medea, what are you getting up to on the journey over?
Medea is both very scared of water because they're in heavy armor, but also has just honestly spent most of the trip like hunched over the water with one hand gliding through the water as the boat moves past, sort of staring at the fish absentmindedly, and not much else.
You probably
They seem to really enjoy it.
during one of these staring moments, Sulveran goes over to. You said you were going to talk to Will, right?
Well, talking is probably an exaggeration.
Okay.
Yeah, Sulveran is going to go loom in Will's general direction for a while. Maybe watching Will's swordplay, I suppose.
Really not good enough to be considered swordplay.
Yeah,
But,
flailing maybe.
I guess I can find out how attentive Will is and how long you have to wait for Will's to notice that you're standing there.
Wow, a long time, forever.
Yeah,
That was a natural
Will completes
one.
the entirety. I rolled a 3 on my. I'm skilled in perception, but not very good at wisdom. So, yeah, Will like complete the entirety of the practice that she was doing, which probably takes like 10 or 12 minutes, and then is about to start like the next repetition of that, and then she realizes that you're standing very close and casting like a shadow on where she's standing, and she should have noticed this whole time. She's like, you can say my name or something if you're waiting for me, or if you're just standing there strangely. She smiles.
Sulveran barked. So Sulveran is just. I could have. And he just passes a note.
All right. Will like takes the note, pockets it because reading a note someone's given you in front of them is rude. Like, yeah, I don't think Will read it in front of Sulveran. I think Will wait to see what it is later. Because if it's from Medea, Will doesn't mind waiting. If it's from Sulveran, she doesn't want to read it in front of them. Uber would just tell her stuff. So anybody else, Will doesn't care that much.
I make this available for the stream to see.
I figure, yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
I just thought it was the Navy SEAL coffee pasta.
Can't believe you spelt my name wrong. This is an outrage.
I'll just give them everything.
It's in runic. There is no rune for
Single
will
L.
with one L. It is
Amazing.
actually the symbol for like willpower is
Great.
how that is written. Is what he is written down. Like, and it has, all these connotations of strength, etc. Oh.
Yeah, Will reads it and probably fishes out a piece of paper, or maybe writes it on the same piece of paper because Will cares about like resources and stuff. Just,
Yeah,
like,
by this point, Sulveran is like sitting with Medea again, just like watching Medea watch the fish.
Yeah, Will goes to write and starts to like think in common, and is like, all right, let me switch my brain across to like the slightly more flourishy and somber, morose Gathite that I know.
Yeah, and that could be later.
I'll type up a response, and Will come to dinner and give it to you at dinner, but probably won't tell a story. Maybe if she drinks heavily enough, we'll play something in her hurdy-gurdy. She generally has it nearby and is like tinkering occasionally if everything is boring enough. She likes to take it apart and put it back together.
Makes sense. You guys all, probably the night after this, gather together in there's a small kind of dining area. It's like just on the level below. It's almost like a canteen. They kind of are just serving whatever the cook happens to make that day, as opposed to being like a restaurant where you order food or anything like that. And Will, what do you play at this event? Small dinner?
It's like a really mournful dirge, like a song that she learnt off her first ship. The song is like the song that you play as your ship is like sailing into what would be considered to be certain death, like it's a death dirge. But because of the mood she's in, particularly with the note from Sulveran and like how thinking about death she is, and because she's certainly not playing to be performative, she's playing because she took her hurdy-gurdy apart and put it back together. So she plays this like really mournful, like this ship is definitely going to sink dirge, but it's also like it misses the like resonant percussion of like Gathite drums and cymbals and stuff. So it's very like the airy top part of this somber dirge. And I don't think she realizes that's what she's playing unless somebody mentions that it's like, why are you playing such a sad song? Would you like me to make a roll?
Yeah, you can make a performance
I
roll.
can try and crit to cause people to be.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see how many people in the other just around happen to start bursting out in tears or something. Oh wow! I think
I'm just gonna roll natural ones in a row.
Yeah, it's so heart-wrenching that people are just so confused and start to like boo you a little bit. Because it's like it doesn't fit the mood at all.
Sure. As soon as like people react to it, Will's like going to be like, I didn't realize I was playing that loudly enough for people to hear, and we'll like clamp the. I don't know if you can clamp a hurdy-gurdy strings. I guess you probably can, and put it away and like take her tinker's tools and start tinkering with like the sheath of her new sword. Like, oh, this is what I'm doing now. I was never playing that. Who was playing anything?
Right, there's some more grumblings, but I think a little bit later, someone else breaks out. A much worse musician than you would be, but they break out a violin and like
An appropriate song.
Start doing a ditty, and a couple of people start dancing after that. So like somebody tries to move away from that really depressing mood that you brought on to these random passerbys.
Everyone to be sad.
Eventually, you kind of pass the days like this, kind of in each other's company, but not necessarily speaking to each other constantly. And you get all the way to your first destination, landing in the town, small city of Forum. It's a walled town, quite large, but not quite large enough to be really called a city by most people who've ever been in one. But there are a number of facilities, shops. There's a bathhouse here. It has amenities, and you stop there for the night. Eventually, so I think most of you have been here before. You want to go to? Does anybody have? Do you want to go to that same tavern that you stayed at previously, Medea, or does anybody have anybody want to go to the really fancy tavern?
I mean, Medea's comfortable just staying at whatever place works. They're not.
Did you say we're in the city?
Yeah, you're in this town. It's Forum, right over here.
Okay, gotcha. That's very close to Uba's hometown.
Yeah, it's not too far. You definitely heard of it. I don't know if you had traveled there. You've probably been in. Uba's probably the most familiar with this town. You probably traveled through there a couple times, using it as like a place to learn about new bounties beforehand. And I'm happy for you to make up a tavern that you particularly enjoy if you want.
Um, me or Medea?
Uba.
I'm bad at naming things, but maybe something like the sunken anchor.
Okay.
Pretty great.
Yeah, that's actually really good.
Will immediately be taken with the name choice. Be like, oh, this is my kind of place.
So you all
Bad, she says.
start to move to the Sunken Acre as you get into town. It's right on the docks. It's like probably the closest tavern to where you're disembarking. And it's late in the evening. You know, you're just like, all right, let's go there. I've been there before. You enter into the Sunken Anchor and find yourself in a fairly lively inn. It's mostly full of, you know, river workers, the most of the other people on the river barge who are traveling elsewhere over land are staying here as well. And as soon as you get in, there's a young gnomish woman who seems to be the staff person, comes up to you and starts to very quickly take your orders. Very mousy in the face. Oh, hi there. What can I get you all today? They're serving ale and wine and most things that you could think of, although it's all pretty low quality and cheap.
Do they have any fun, kitschy alcohols named after, like, the anchor, you know?
They do have a mug, and they call it, she's like, as you kind of ask that question. Oh, well, you could always order the rust bucket. It's a cocktail of my own creation.
Just do you serve it in a bucket?
Yeah, actually.
Well, I'll take 4 rust buckets.
Okay, 4 rust buckets. Gonna be a fun night. She starts to write that down. And I'll be right back. Any food with that?
Yeah, Will orders food for herself and, like, kind of thinks for a moment. And says, Did any of you want to order anything?
I think
Sulveran
Uba's
is
probably
going
going to ask. I was going to say Uba's going to order like the largest portion of meat that they have available.
Okay. One sizable.
One entire
Chicken.
cow.
Okay, 1 chicken.
Chicken of unusual size they serve at the Sunken Anchor.
Sulveran is going to go with the stew, which he's usually fairly confident is something that he will somewhat recognize.
House stew. Okay. And for our are you wearing, Medea, are you wearing the your helmet, or have you had the mask on for most of this trip?
They're still wearing the helmet. I think they just are like, I'm good. I'll leave later. And they probably pull up like a small thing of rations they're nibbling on.
Sulveran is going to wait until the waitress is out of earshot, and then he's going to lean into Will. Rust is that substance which accumulates on metal, yes?
Yes.
Yes.
That
would
was
be
to
right.
Will, Andrew.
Oh, okay.
How dare you?
That waitress was like ready to answer.
Yeah. It's build-up of some kind of moisture on the outside of metal. It's probably not good for you. I suspect it doesn't have rust in it. Unless it's a metal bucket, then it probably does have rust in it.
Does rust
I
add
see.
You ask if rust adds to the flavor.
Did you want one?
Yes.
Sure, I'm sure rust would add to the flavor. It's like metallic and
I can come back if you're not sure. I have other guests.
No, I'm sure.
Okay. So 5 rust buckets? Okay.
Will nods to that, no matter
5
what.
rust buckets. All right.
Will drink the amount of rust buckets that come.
She leaves very, very briskly, like sashaying out. And
Andrew?
yes, go ahead.
Would a paladin be immune to lead poisoning? From immunity to diseases?
Yes, although I don't think you have that yet.
No, I do.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Very
Well, then, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Wait, are you immune to poison? Because lead poisoning specifically poison.
I'm immune to diseases.
Mm.
If you're not immune to poison, you would still maybe take poison damage from it.
But no long-term health issues.
You would probably become poisoned still, but
Yeah, you're poisoned for your life. Not
yeah.
that long term.
Anyways, you all wait a few minutes. You see that they are, like I said, it's quite busy. So your waitstaff greets a few more people, takes down some more orders. But eventually, as you're sitting around listening to the music, the fire crackling in the corner, they come back carrying basically 2 trays, one on each shoulder, and they really have to like dance and weave out of everybody's way because there's a lot of humans here, and they're much shorter than everybody, so it's very hard to maneuver with these large trays. They set down on your table 4 like hand pails full of a brownish liquid that they'll just this sloshes slightly. All right, then 5 rust buckets. Here's your chicken, the stew, and she'll probably lays out like a couple other. There's like the rust buckets come with like a small breadboard on the assumption that you'll need it.
How much for? Will gestures vaguely towards everything.
Well, I can search you on a tab, but for this stuff, it's gonna be about whole chicken. It's gonna be about 2 gold.
Sulveran already has his coin purse out, and he's going to nod over to Will and slip the 2 gold out.
Thank you. And she'll like pluck it in, stuff it inside a coin purse that they've got, shoved in their bits.
A long moment's going to pass, and then he's going to stop abruptly and realize, and he's going to like stare at his purse, trying to figure out what the appropriate tip is.
I think if you keep looking at the purse, they leave without like really expecting an immediate tip. But they do come back several times. So, Will, you go ahead. You kind of like sniff the rust bucket. It smells like.
Will doesn't sniff the rust bucket. Will just starts drinking the rust bucket.
You just start drinking it. So
yeah,
I mean, you
Will
2 hands on this pail because it's just too large to really, unless you like grip it on one side and drink it like that.
Grip it and rip it.
It is what seems to you to be a mixture of various kinds of spirits with a almost like a what we would think of as like a soda water, some kind of fizzy concoction. But there's a lot of different things in it. It's tastes to you of cherry, elderberry, strawberries. There's hints of oak. It's just a wash of flavor in this bucket.
This sounds vile.
It is strong, but it's not quite as bad as you were perhaps expecting. I do need you to make a Constitution saving throw at this point in time. Because you said you downed the rust bucket.
Yep. Really punishing me for not taking resilient. 20, it's fine.
Okay.
Everything's fine.
You start to get the head feel a bit, just the slight tinge, the warmth, as you start to finish this rust bucket. But
Meanwhile,
you're
Uber
like,
passes out.
it's no worse than if you had done, say, 2 or 3 shots in a row.
It's really not that bad.
Uba, on the other hand, you start to drink this rust bucket, and you're like, wow, this is great. And you keep drinking it, and you keep drinking it, and you are drunk at that point. Although you are much smaller than Will, so that does make sense.
Yeah, sounds about right.
However, as you have finished this drink and start digging into your chicken, the chicken tastes great to you in this moment. Definitely not going to regret eating a whole chicken later on tonight.
A whole chicken and a bucket full of mysterious alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
The perfect combination.
It's fine. Everything's fine.
Despite the fact that Sulveran paid for them, Will does consider this alcohol to be hers because she ordered them for herself.
Right.
But so she will offer Sulveran one, knowing that 4 is too many.
Sulveran is going to take it and stare down at it, and then look at the entire tavern around himself.
There are a couple of people looking at you in these 5 rust buckets that you've ordered. You know, it's like if somebody orders, you know, the challenge sandwich at like a burger joint where it's like, you know, 20 patties or something like that. This is what you've done, essentially.
And then he just watches this short fucking little drunk walk in and just down an entire rust bucket by themselves. And their friend just did the same and ate an entire chicken.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You have become minor celebrities in almost an instant at this place.
Yeah, and meanwhile, despite the fact that he's approximately 3 times Uba's size, he is very cautious when he first sniffs and then takes a sip of the substance. He's looking at both Will and Uba like he expects to need to give them immediate medical care.
It's probably I would consider it to be a breakfast liqueur.
Mm-hmm. It almost has the quality of a very strong brandy to you, but it's slightly got like a bite to it that makes it a bit strange.
Medea is convinced this is literally just the leftovers of the patron's cups from the last decade, stewed into the same mixture.
Make an insight check as you do you drink any of it?
No, they just stare at it in disbelief.
Okay, I'll let you make an insight check anyways. You're pretty convinced that this is just like whatever they could find in people's leftover cups, or that and whatever liquor was about to go bad, and they've just thrown it into this pail.
See, I think this is a situation where I rolled it was super low or super high gets the right answer, and middling would be wrong. Medea's just gonna look at it, and they also, for reference, did not think any of them belonged to them. They thought Will just wanted 4 things of alcohol.
Yep, that is accurate to what
That's
Will
true.
did
True.
want.
Yeah.
That's true. That's the correct view. Will, while watching Sulveran to see the effect it has on a Gathite, ever curious, will kind of wander to the bar and ask for a tankard so that she can drink the next one slower.
Ah, okay.
Because he's holding up you can't use 2 hands to drink.
Yeah, the bartender nods and very quickly polishes a mug and hands it to you.
Thank you.
Medea,
They're very good.
Medea will look to Will and say, "You know, I can make you less drunk so you can keep drinking."
I'm not drunk now. You're definitely feeling the warmth of the alcohol, but I'm definitely not drunk. I've been drunk in a very similar place to this, on a very similar drink, but I'm not drunk now.
So an entire bucket.
It's not my first time drinking.
No, well, most people cannot drink an entire bucket.
Oh,
Most things, really. I'm impressed. This is not criticism.
I've been drinking since I was 13.
Ruba, as this conversation is going on, there's a man at the table next to you who has just the shiniest to you in this moment gold bracelet that you could think of.
Nah.
I think Uba's going to attempt to go over and chat this man up if there's no current supervision of Uba. Like they're just going to kind of toddle over and try and talk to this man.
Will's walked off, Sulveran's drinking, and Medea's focused on trying to figure out what's in the rust bucket. I think you're good to walk off in the moment. You're also skilled in stealth, so.
Okay, Uba's not even going to bother trying to talk to this man. They're just going to try and do just straight up theft in the middle of this bar because they see the shiny thing and they want the shiny thing. Usually they wouldn't steal from people unless it was like someone that they were hunting down for a bounty, but because they're drunk, they're just looking and they're like, this is a shiny thing that I want.
Right. Go ahead and make a sleight of hand check as you go to remove this bracelet from this man. I'm going to give you disadvantage because you're drunk. So you can control click on the skill to roll with disadvantage.
Control click. Okay.
8. Okay.
Aww.
You stumble and you get up to this person and they're like chatting, ha, 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 and you like go to unclasp. But as soon as you like go to remove it, you brush up against their arm and they look down and they're like, well, what the fuck? And they just like grab your hand.
No.
At this point in time, Medea, you we'll say Medea and Sulveran. Actually no, Sulveran. Oh yeah, you've got a great perception, even though you're not skilled in it. Passive. Will, I think, is too low. Yes. Actually, no, just Sulveran. You notice that your kobold friend has been involved in an altercation. There's now a man holding their wrist as they have a gold chain dangling from their hand.
Sulveran is just for one of the first times he's not going to look over at Medea first to know what to do. He's just he stands up, pushes in his chair as he steps away, and just blooms right between them. Promptly, has Uba been grabbed?
Yeah, he's like whoosh, grabbed Uba's arm, and is like trying to shake the bracelet away. He looks up at you and is like, "Hey, your friend." Oh.
My friend, what?
That's mine. He like points at the bracelet and looks up at you.
Sulveran just turns down to Uba. Is that hers?
Uba. Well, Uba is really, really drunk at this point, so they're just gonna kind of wiggle the bracelet and go, "Not anymore."
Wow.
Sulveran is going to nod as politely as he can manage at the woman, and then kind of drop down slowly and look at Uba. Do you remember the conversation we had about our friends not always approving of the actions that we may not see an issue with?
Uba is gonna kind of have the attitude when they're drunk of like a petulant toddler and just go, "Ugh, yes, I remember."
Sulveran's going to alright, so the best action forward to take is
Gonna sit there very thoughtfully for a little bit too long, and then finally, with like a frustrated sigh, they're gonna just chuck the bracelet back on the table of where this person was sitting, and they're just gonna go, "Fine, I didn't even want it anyway," and just kind of like toddle off back towards where Medea was, like the table that the group was at.
They've noticed this and immediately looked right back, staring at the bucket. They're pretending they didn't see it.
Right. At this point in time, Will, you have returned with your mug, and you start to like carefully try to pour the about half of a rest bucket into the mug.
I think she'll dip the tankard instead of
Okay,
trying to
you,
pour. That's very
your
funny.
hand is going to smell like a variety of fruits for the next at least few days.
Sure.
Andrew, if I use divine sense, does the rust bucket smell evil? Does it smell of a fiend, or fae, or celestial?
It smells a bit of a fae doing, like this might be concocted by someone not of the mortal persuasion.
They're strongly convinced this alcohol might be evil.
Will didn't see any of the Uber stuff, right?
No, you didn't. You were talking to the bar as this happened.
Yeah.
Although you come back and see them looking kind of put out.
Will eat some bread to actually have something in her stomach.
Okay.
Now understanding why it came with so much bread.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You eat. I think the rest of you, unless somebody wanted to do something after this, you kind of continue to drink. Medea shies away from the rest bucket, I think, but Will, by the end of the night, over time, you'll get quite drunk from drinking these.
Yep.
Do you finish the 4 rust buckets, or what's left of them?
Not the one that I offered to Sulveran. Even
Okay.
if Sulveran doesn't finish it, Will won't take alcohol back once given. That's insane.
Mm-hmm.
Sulveran would drink his.
Okay, Sulveran drinks his. A couple of people go up to Will at various points in the night and ask how you've managed to drink, one in one sitting.
3.
Much less, 3. And I think a couple people just give you let's make a roll.
Just get some money.
Yeah.
Give me a card to the local Alcoholics Anonymous.
You
They
earn
said, do you have cards in the local police?
3 silver and 8 copper. Just for people assuming, just congratulating you, basically.
I'll
for the
give
show.
it to the I'll give it to the bartender when we go to sleep or leave.
Okay. They happily take it. And eventually you guys all do go to sleep. I think Uba passes out in their chair. But, between the 4 of you, I think you can lift a small kobold up into the room quite easily.
They literally just pick Uba up by the back of their shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
and
very confident
sling
Will's
them
not
over the
required for
shoulder.
that. But it is 2 gold for the rooms as well, if somebody wants to pay for that.
I'll pay for it.
I'm assuming you're getting your own
I
rooms.
pay
Everybody is.
Will just sleep in the tap room.
Okay. Well, that's free for you then.
Can I use lay on hands to remove Uba's hangover in the morning preemptively?
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll use 5 points of lay on hands.
Okay. You in the morning, Uba, you wake up and not even in the morning, sometime in the pre-dawn hours, you get up, puke, fall back asleep, and then you wake up to Medea, healing hands over you. And immediately after that, you feel much better.
Thank you. Well,
You
I don't
did
think
not
Uba would thank
deserve
you.
a hug.
Uba would probably just grumble a little bit and then fall back asleep.
Try and steal something from you. Will is going to enjoy the hangover and how it shuts down part of her brain.
Sometime during the morning, you all get ready and leave. you gather your things. Various states of recovering from intoxication to having been magically healed from it. And you guys head down the road out of Forum. Crossing the river. And then heading, basically picking roads, trying to follow the path that Cala has set out for you. Whoever wants to can roll me a d6.
I'll do it.
Right. That is
Okay.
claim this
Do I
bounty.
Do we need a survival roll or anything?
No, you're still walking. You're not in like nature yet. You're just. It's just about which paths you're choosing and what might happen in those things.
I rolled a 5.
Okay.
That's the best number.
So you guys are walking along, heading without incident. You kind of cross over the river, head along it upstream until you come to a point where it is thin. You're starting to get up into the hills, and you have to cross a rickety bridge. Can I get everybody to make me a perception check?
My urge to do a Owen Wilson accent.
Wow.
That was very high. Oh, hey, wow, it's a rickety bridge. Wow.
It's
taken
not
a
that
moment.
rickety.
Sure.
It is a rope, wooden rope bridge. However, you guys rolled well. Okay. Uba. We're waiting. I'll wait for Sulveran to roll just in case.
Yeah, I just had to do it manually because it's not.
That's okay. All right. So Uba and Sulveran, before you even get to the bridge, the two of you are walking along, and Uba, you smell before you even see a trap, and you start to look, and you notice, oh, bandit in bush, bandit opposite bush, 2 bandits across, 1 bandit behind rock. Immediately, this is an ambush. You're just, no, your senses are tuned to this sort of thing. And Sulveran, you kind of have that hair-raised sense of being watched even before you get to the actual ambush point. And looking around, you see the same thing. And you and Uba kind of like look at each other and like share a moment of understanding. So this is the only bridge in sight, but you know that there are people waiting to waylay you. Or at least people hiding in a bush, in several different bushes on both sides of the stream. Will, you don't notice this. Medea, you would notice this, but not before the other two do.
Do we notice this within earshot or still outside of earshot of this?
Within earshot for sure. Because you're within seeing distance. So if you're shouting, they could hear you, but you could whisper without being heard.
All right.
I think the whisper technique sounds good.
Yeah, Sulveran is just going to tap each person on the shoulder and just point like a general gesture, like he's talking. It's just kind of like a forward sort of motion. And he's going to look at Uba and so do we walk straight forward or would you like to pull them out?
I think
Ooh.
Will like puts up her hand.
Yeah.
Wait. Like, let me try and deal with this in a way that is less blood-filled for them. And kind of steps forward and says, "Look, my very, very angry, bloodthirsty companions have realized you're waiting for us in the woods. I would like none of you to die, so if you just want to let us walk forward, cross the bridge, etc." Do you need me to roll
Medea is on
a
top
persuasion check?
of the horse in armor wielding a full lance.
I think this is an intimidation check. Because you're trying to convince them that like you're scarier than their work than they could handle.
All right, then only 14.
Sulveran is standing there in his background, and it took him a moment, but after he processed her words, he is doing his level best to look very bloodthirsty and
Okay. At some point you see. I'm just gonna move to this map. I prepared a map for it.
This feels
Reveal
like this
guy.
roll has gone poorly. If you're pulling us to a different map, that's a bad sign.
You see a
And-
human man kind of step out from behind a rock. Stand tall. He's got yeah. He's got two scimitars like on either hip. And he'll shout over to you, saying, "All right then. Why don't you just leave some gold and we'll call it fair. 5 ahead. We were gonna rob
He's
you
on the
and
other
kill
side of the
you.
bridge, right?
So, yeah, he's on the opposite side of the bridge. Right? You should be able to see the map now. It's this
Yeah.
guy right here.
What even is the range on this spell?
Yeah, you're
Well,
about
it says-
70, 60 feet away from him.
Andrew, am I on my horse still?
Sure.
Okay.
Will
I'm not
says
going
to
to pull
the
out a
others.
horse icon, but you are on a horse.
Will says to the others. I assume you're not willing to pay 5 gold per head to not kill these people.
I don't have any golds. That's up to whoever has money.
Uba has more than enough, but is absolutely offended at the idea of paying to not fight.
And
what would these men do to the next group that passed?
I'm not sure that that's relevant to our situation, but maybe charge them 5 gold. Who knows?
And should they not have 5 gold?
Well, everyone sometimes has 5 gold and sometimes doesn't have 5 gold.
How about we see if we can ask them to lower the price?
I think the price is not really relevant. We all just got paid quite a lot of money twice.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I
What
think
if we
it's more
didn't-
the
what
principle
if we
of whether
didn't?
or not.
What if we didn't kill them but knocked them out?
Uba, do you think that you're likely to not kill them if given the opportunity?
Uba, who already has their dagger out, sighs heavily and says, I guess. But then they kind of stand up and are like, but if we kill them, we won't have to worry about them attacking anybody else.
As you guys are having this conversation, the man will shout over once more, saying, "Well, 5 gold or crossbow quarrel in your abdomen. You decide. Make it quick."
How far away from us, Andrew?
He's like 60 feet away.
Okay, I could make it to him in one round.
Yes. I don't think any of you could make it to him and attack him, but yes, you could make it to him.
I'll do
No, I'm on the horse, so I have 60
Yeah.
feet of movement.
So we're not in turn order yet, are we?
No, nobody's made that declaration.
All right. I believe that at the crossbow quarrel line, Sulveran would actually he'd already be casting aid on his folks. Hold on,
All right. Will waves at the captain, says, "When you're dying, just remember that I did try and stop this," and kind of steps back behind the horse.
Okay. Why don't we have as Sulveran, you can get initiative off. But at that point I need everybody to roll initiative.
Oh yeah, Sulveran, did you put your advantage on initiative thing on anyone?
I believe I did it for them, but I'll double check.
What do I get that from? Sorry. Oh yeah, for the yeah. To do.
I don't know. You should now.
Wonderful.
I keep forgetting to rename the
Oh,
tokens.
hey.
So we did get aid.
Yes.
Is it 3 people? Charlie.
Hold on. I have a whole frozen up spreadsheet here. I'm trying to get it to connect.
Which one's the bandit captain?
The one who stood out already.
Can I
this
tell
guy.
which one?
I mean, the one who was yelling at you previously.
I can't see. Where is
Yeah, we
his
didn't.
token?
Yeah, we can't see the token of the guy that was yelling at us.
Still like refreshing
Yeah,
to be able
we
to
can
see
only
the
we can
tokens.
see everyone but him.
Yeah, maybe try refreshing. You should be able to see everything on this map as far as I'm aware.
I'll,
Check the configuration.
I will also refresh.
I cannot see him.
The stream can see it for sure, so
Yeah, it's on my end.
you guys should be able to as well.
Oh yeah, because you have just a player screen for the thing.
Yeah.
So who got aid? Because it's only 3 of us, right?
Yeah, and he would apply it to each of you, not to himself. It's just the crossbow quarrel line that has triggered him. He's going to tilt his head and he's just going to immediately reach out to y'all and protect you as best he can. And you kind of feel it, like there is a phantom feeling. He hasn't touched you at all, but there is a feeling like somebody has like just placed his palm on the back of your shoulder and just like kind of rallied you, shaking you a little bit.
Trying to edit my character sheet while reloading Foundry, and it was like, well, actually, no, I don't like that.
Yeah, Foundry was angry at me for a few minutes there. I don't know if my initiative roll ever pulled through. It doesn't look like it.
No, it doesn't.
All right. Finish.
Well, that one. That 2 that you rolled there.
That's beautiful.
Bandit Captain's bandana is striking.
Kind of sick.
Medea,
Yeah.
you rolled yours with initiative, right?
Yes.
With advantage.
With, advantage.
Do you mean I'll roll again. No, I do not have
Yeah.
that set up. I roll again.
Sulveran always casts his initiative
you
bonus
heard
thing on you.
Yeah, this would have to be above. No, okay.
Yeah, I don't need to change that.
I'm just waiting
That's
for
decent.
my character sheet to appear.
Almost got.
Oh, that was what.
If it's
I was
relevant,
slowing
Andrew, I
down
do
'cause you
have
were
my
throwing
notes
all of the
units
3D
speak, right?
Oh, sorry.
I mean, we can turn off on our end, so it's really.
Yeah, it was only because it was loading.
You can also roll from the combat tracker. Up on stream.
I'm gonna roll from the combat tracker because I'm trying to get used to.
Oh, Uba goes first.
I'm not on here.
Oh, yes. I will just start making.
Imagine a world where I rolled well on initiative.
I can't.
Give me. Don't stand there with your 11 and talk about rolling poorly on initiative.
I mean, I have +3 though.
What? Did you take alert, by the way? Oh no, it was Alveron who was taking alert.
I couldn't resist my custom beautiful feat.
Are you still not able to roll, Jack? Or
No, I rolled. It
That's
was
No.
an 11.
didn't go
Yeah.
into the thing.
Yeah, it's showing it for me.
Yeah, I see it too.
I can see
Oh,
it
it's
in the
under the
thing,
thing,
but it
though.
didn't go to
Yeah,
the
no, I
combat
see.
tracker. That's okay. I just added it.
Sorry.
Oh, it's interesting. It
no,
actually
now
did
there's
add it,
two
but
of
it.
them.
Oh,
in the
there it
combat.
goes. Weird.
Yeah.
Okay. Looks like it's working now.
Okay.
All right. Uba, you are the first to act.
Okay. I think that Uba is gonna make a beeline for the guy to their right that's in the bush.
Mhm.
So they're gonna move to here. And then, since that was within my movement, do I get to attack as well?
Yeah. So you use your movement to
Okay.
get there, and you can use your action to attack.
Okay.
You guys are fourth, so just one attack right now. Although you do have a
Okay.
rapier and a dagger, so you could. Although you're duelist, so you wouldn't want to do that. Never mind.
Yeah, I'll use the rapier. Is this person that I'm attacking? Well, I'm guessing they're a humanoid, so I'd get that bonus. I'll just roll a d20 and then add my extra points to that. Okay.
That
That's
hits.
probably
Yeah,
gonna hit
plus
two shit.
6, 8 plus 8, I think. So yeah, that hits.
Okay. So, the rapier. I'm not sure what dice to use for the rapier.
It's a
It doesn't say
D8.
on here. D8. Okay.
It'd be yeah.
You should be able to roll with
Are
it
you-
as well, and it should
Oh,
know
okay.
that proper damage. Well, it won't add the
Okay,
plus
let me-
2, but we'll do that.
Oh no, that's the wrong dice. Sorry, I'll just roll a d8. Let's see.
That would be very
That would be
funny.
very good. You could roll
It's a D20
D20.
rapier that Will just gave you by accident.
Okay. So that plus
The greatest
4.
rapier on earth.
So that's 11.
Okay.
Just +4?
Just +4?
Well,
I'm
because I
double
had
that.
2
should
against
be
humanoids
Yeah,
and then
and then
2 for a
Hmm.
one-handed weapon.
And then +4 because it's a dexterity.
plus your
weapon,
dexter, so it should be plus 8, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You normally do like +8.
You could also bonus action Hunter's
Yeah.
Mark if you would like.
I could use Hunter's Mark first.
Yes, if you want to. Since
Well,
we're still learning.
I'll do that. I'll do the Hunter's Mark and then hit with that damage.
Go ahead and click Hunter's Mark so it removes that spell.
Okay.
And I think it'll roll as well when you do that. In favorite enemy
So is that 19? No.
Yeah, 15, so 13 plus 4 is 17.
That's 17. Okay.
Which is still a ton of damage. Yeah, you walk over this guy and what does it look like as you murder him in one blow?
I thought, is non-lethal damage not a thing in fighting?
It is, but they didn't say anything about that.
Yeah, Uba has 0 chill, so I think they're gonna kill this guy. They're just gonna stab through like the kind of like the space in the armor, like
Easy.
right here. They're just gonna go. Well, actually, they can't reach up that high, so they're gonna aim lower. Like
You could
towards
probably
the
do
stomach
with a
and just-
rapier, because your rapier is probably like two and a half feet long.
Yeah. Okay. So they're gonna hit like right here and
All right.
just kind of like wipe their sword in the grass and be like, "Yep."
Uba
Okay.
runs over and just cutting, like slashing straight through a main artery in the neck, and the guy like goes to grab at it, blood spurts, and they fall into the bushes. As Uba's like
Will
looks at
Will
him.
just gives a look to Medea and Sulveran.
You know, you
He
might
is
try
just
telling
like
them again.
the-
Maybe they'll listen.
The bandit captain at this point is going
I stepped behind.
Interesting. He's invisible for me.
to move
Yeah, you have to
forward.
read.
Yeah, I probably should have closed down the application and opened it back up before we started. Now that I think about it,
Yeah.
that might be a
If they
contributing
grab our
factor.
headphones, I'll be back in a second.
They're going to move forward and they're going to ready an attack for presumably when somebody walks up to them. Let's say I like pull out both their scimitars. Whoosh. It's going to be Medea's turn. Who stepped away?
Because I'm terrible at remembering how jumping works in this game, it's like an amount minus your strength total, right? Or plus your strength total?
An amount plus your strength total. I think it's like... It depends on if you're doing a running jump or a standing jump.
Sure.
But yes.
Alright. I should look it up, because if it's 10 plus strength total, everyone can jump across this distance.
I don't think it is. I think it might be equal to your strength total. Like, not your modifier, but your
Yeah, I believe
strength.
it's just your strength for
For a running jump, yeah. Long jump.
Alright, well.
If you move at
Still-
least 10 feet, you can jump a number of feet up to your strength score.
Alright, great. Doesn't stop Will wanting to do what Will wants to do. But she'll think about it more.
did the captain go?
Wait, no, yes,
Yeah,
it's your turn.
He just went there and stood there.
He
Can someone
readied
ping
an
where he
action.
is?
Right here. So weird that the stream can see it, but you guys can't.
I can see it after I reload it.
Once I reloaded it, I
It's
could.
really right here, technically speaking.
They're going to. Medea's going to run forward, and I don't actually need to get next to him. I'm within 5 feet, or 10 feet, right?
No, one
No,
forward.
yeah. Why don't you need to get next to him?
I believe.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then I'm just going to stab.
You need to move one up, but yes.
Assuming that misses.
Yes, that definitely misses. I'm just going to move you.
And then I'm going to take my bonus action attack and hit him with the half of the blade.
Okay.
Is it 20 good?
Yes, although you use the spear. That one.
No, I just have that modified to use the 1d4 bludgeoning stuff.
Okay, I would change the name. But yeah, so the first attack he like parries, and it's just like, ha! And then you bring it the second round, hit him in the face. See, spits.
And then I'm going to smite him just to smite him.
Okay.
For an extra 12 points. As Amidia just cracks the half out on his head.
There's a flash of light as he like shakes it off and says, "Fine then." Maybe one of their turns. This person is going to take a couple shots at Medea, their closest. So you see this archer like stand out with a longbow.
Mhm.
Fire 2 shots.
Missing.
Both
And
times.
missing.
Bad rolls. Launching 2 arrows at you, but one of them just glances off your armor completely. The other one misses its mark. This guy is going to forward. And shoot a crossbow bolt at Uba. Hitting, I think.
I'll
Yes.
cut him. Well, sorry, I should say it beforehand, but I won't. That's fine, because I didn't say it in time.
You can, I didn't confirm it.
Um,
Hitting words, it's
yeah.
hard because I'm very quick about saying like whether
Yeah.
or not it hits or not. So
Uh,
I'll allow it.
no, it's alright. I won't do it because I think Will's not invested in not showing Uber the direct consequences of his actions.
Okay.
So,
I mean, Uba, you take just 1 point of damage.
Oh.
Because I rolled really bad.
you know you're bad when you're using a crossbow with no
Uba's
fire.
really learning how.
So Uba, a crossbow bolt flies past your cheek, just barely like glancing at your side. Like there's a small trickle of blood.
Just gonna give them a cool scar.
And then it is Will's turn.
Oh no, you just made them hotter.
Hang on 1 second. Will looks at Sulveran after Uber's just literally like cut someone's throat with a rapier and Medea's just like imploded radiant damage onto someone's head, and kind of sighs. And I guess me have a think about the range of this. All right. It's just gonna point at a vague space next to the thug that just shot at Uber. Close enough to not hit the bridge as well. And this cacophony. Will doesn't say anything for this spell. Like a lot of her, like her verbal component in this case is just the arcane language of the spell, so she doesn't like intone it in any way. And she kind of points her finger, and then it becomes the palm of her hand. And Sulveran, next to you, you just hear this cacophony of cannon fire. And I'll cast Split Hulls to just target that guy and not the bridge.
That's it. What, like 10-foot radius? That's super easy.
Yeah. Yeah, but not big enough to hit the two on the other side.
What is split
just
hole?
It's a con save, I think.
It is a con save. Yeah, it was.
Okay. I see
Yeah.
what it is.
They fail, so they take 11 points of damage.
Unless it's secretly a crystal, and that
Yeah, it's actually a bandit golem.
They're like,
It lets.
not
I didn't
bad.
know it let me like place the thing when I clicked it. I've never
Yeah,
cast an AoE spell before in this system.
Yeah, it does. It'll bring up a little thing, which is really nifty.
That's amazing. I think I could have hit both of them. Weird.
Wait, there's two? Can you ping the other one?
Oh no. I was looking at the two on the other side of the bridge and was like, I don't think I can hit both of them.
Oh, no, I don't think you could have.
No, it would be one tile short. One square.
And then Will like reaches up and pats Sulveran on the shoulder and says, "Don't worry, just go, do murder, do whatever." And like we'll wander to be
Barter.
over here. Yeah.
Right. The one bandit is dead, but the other one is going to go. And they're going to fire a light crossbow at Will now. Man, these guys are rolling
oh,
awful.
they can reach.
They're
Just
terrible with their weapons. That's the problem.
flying away. Yeah, I mean it's low level enemies, but still I'm rolling badly.
Yeah.
Just clattering against probably like landing in the dirt behind you, like several yards. But it's going to be their wolf companion's turn.
I just assumed there was a wild wolf that was going to come in and fuck with everything.
Here, but it's going to move all the way to be standing next to Medea. So it's going to dash.
How does
over,
Medea's
basically.
brand new horse react to a wolf appearing? Like,
Probably not great. I could make you make an animal handling check, but it hasn't attacked yet, so I'm going to say.
this horse like this. The horse is like, this is friendly. I'm on board.
It is then Sulveran's turn.
Sulveran is just
It's more of a
going
wolf
to
dog than a wolf.
Okay. Sulveran is just going to look over at Will and like her hand on his shoulder. And then I think we disagree on the definition of murder. And he is going to, let's see, where'd my ruler go? He's gonna march forward. And then as he kind of stalks forward, he takes a moment very deliberately to look at each of the combatants and then settles his gaze on the captain, and he is going to point, and that one is wisdom saving throw. And I don't know if it rolled a d12 automatically, so hold on. Let me take a look at that.
It didn't.
15. Okay.
You just rolled a crit damage, not a d12. If you click on where it says d12 in the spell's description, that will roll a d12.
Okay. Thank you.
You definitely failed, so he takes 5 points of damage.
All right. And so when he does that, it's just there's a screeching sound like a carrion bird sweeping down to hit him. And he is careful to be very aware of the man's spirit as he does this. He's watching him because, despite it, he does not want to violate what Will asked for at the start of the battle. So all of his attacks are going to be intended non-lethal.
Yeah, we do learn non-lethal spells.
Are not told the dead non-lethally. I'm gonna say that seems not quite right.
It depends on the spell.
Yeah.
All right. None of my spells can be done non-lethally.
What about Sacred Flame? Is that one that can be
Sure, I will allow you to non-lethally cast Sacred Flame.
Can I
Alright,
viciously mock someone non-lethally?
Yeah.
I mean, I
Yes.
should hope so.
And I,
What world would we live in that you
I'm
could...
gonna
No,
say
that-
yes.
I feel like there's an innate savagery to vicious mockery that cannot be tempered.
Well, we're back to the top with Uba. You've slain your foe. However, several more combatants have moved into the battlefield. You can recast Hunter's Mark as a bonus action without expending a spell slot on this turn, since your enemy died on the last one.
Okay. So I am going to move over towards the wolf. Let me just see where I can go. Okay. So I'm gonna move right by this wolf. And you said I can cast Hunter's Mark?
Without expending a spell slot, yes, as a bonus action.
Okay. So do I have to cast that or say that I'm gonna cast that first before I roll to see if it hits?
Correct. You're supposed to, yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm being
So
I've
let
been
me-
generous the last couple times because I know you're.
Okay.
It's hard to remember when you're first starting to play Ranger.
Okay. So I'll click on Hunter's Mark and see. Well, I'll say that I'll use that, but so roll my d20.
That hits, yeah.
Hooray.
I mean, yeah.
Okay,
if you
so
roll a
I'm-
15, you're gonna hit it for any of you
Okay.
on any of these fields.
So I'm gonna do a combo of Hunter's Mark and the Rapier again. So
Okay.
here's
yeah, roll
Hunter's
a
Mark, and you said I don't consume
D8
a spell
plus
slot.
56. Correct. Yeah,
Okay.
because you've you're just changing the target at that point.
Okay, so 5, and then the Rapier. Oh. That
Well, we'll ignore the attack roll.
Oh, that should be an extra. It should be an extra 2 because it isn't adding,
Yeah.
I think, the dueling style.
It is.
okay. So the
No,
dueling
No,
style.
it's the humanoid
correct.
that it misses.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
A total of 16 points of damage against this wolf, who, as you stab at them, is looking very wounded. Like they give a yelp as you like ram the rapier into their chest, like.
Oh, I feel bad.
I feel bad too, but
Hey, the bandit captain is going to move forward and, growling at you, going to make their 3 attacks with their scimitar. So they're going to attack Medea. 2, 3. Wow, just rolling awful. I think all of those miss you. Yeah.
Medea doesn't even move. They just let the scimitar hit their armor and not get through.
Next turn, it's just going to attack the horse.
I haven't rolled above a 10, I don't think.
You rolled a 10.
Yes, but I haven't rolled above a 10. This whole combat encounter. Okay.
Hey, when you
They
hit Uba,
walk up and very proficiently swing some blades around. But they're all just, even the ones that are kind of like managing to get past your horse and just glance against your armor that that chainmail that you're wearing just dun, dun. Right. And it is then Medea's turn.
They're just going to turn and look to the wolf and try and kill him quick.
Okay. Killing the weaklings.
Well, I
that
assume-
misses.
Yeah, and then I'll make the bonus action.
Wolf.
It as well. Accidentally hit it twice. But I assume a 23.
Yes, the 23 hits. You bludgeon this wolf with the haft of your spear to death.
They just straight up bring it down on the skull. They are done with this thing. They
This
don't
wolf
want
that
it to
moved
stay
next
there.
to you and did nothing.
This guy is going to try to attack Medea again. Scout, the archer. Hitting once.
Hitting,
So you take
finally.
5 points of damage as one of the arrows manages to ding, find a chink, a good soft spot, probably in your shoulder area.
I think that's
It
literally
just
only your
barely
10
breaks
points.
aid. Yeah, so it literally just breaks through like this twilight shield and then clatters on the ground.
Okay. Thug is then going to move in. And they're all on you, Medea. They you just killed their pet. They're not
They
happy
don't.
with this.
They don't like me.
This guy gets the wolf would have gotten pack tactics, but this guy also gets pack tactics. So he's gonna make 2 attacks at advantage against you. Hitting twice.
Hitting one. Oh,
What's
yeah.
your AC?
Meet or beat.
Yeah. I was gonna say.
Yeah, meet or beat.
Yeah, so hitting you twice, but not like super proficient blows, as I've rolled 2 1s on damage. But you do take 6 damage as they hit you twice with their mace. It's then going to be Will's turn, as the battlefield is rapidly thinning.
And all of my spells open these people up to just being murdered, which kind of Will doesn't want to do. So I guess she'll pull out her scimitar and go to try and slam this guy in the back of the head with it to non-lethally put him down.
Wait. Okay.
Oh my god, I've never rolled a weapon attack on Foundry.
Oh, not at once. That hits.
For 6.
You do hit them, and they do become bloodied. However, that is not enough to bring them down.
And then I probably will step back, and I'll take the attack of opportunity if it comes. I think that.
Sure, they'll wildly swing at you.
And 1, 2, 4.
Missing though. They were focused on Medea, so you kind of hit them in the back and then walked off before they could refocus.
Ran up, slapped them with the flat of a scimitar, and then ran away.
Yeah. This guy is going to. He's going to shoot a light crossbow bolt at Uba again. Hitting you for 8 points of damage. Because this time, finding their mark, finally, it kind of punches into your shoulder.
They did not like their dog dying.
That dog didn't do anything.
It literally didn't get to attack you.
The dog tried to murder you.
It
It didn't try and murder you. It ran next to you. It was going to be friends with you and your horse.
It is now Sulveran's turn.
True.
Gonna make a calculated bet, y'all. Out of character. I'm sorry if I calculate poorly. I have to say that out of character because Sulveran is not sorry. He is going to look over to Will, and then not even breaking eye contact with Will, and choosing that point that I was pinging a second ago, he is going to start singing his Gathite lullaby again.
Mhm.
Pinging that one spot with the intent of all those folks that are in that range potentially being hit. So yeah, he is just crooning his childlike Gathite lullaby overtones and all. I feel like it rolled too many dice. Is that?
I think you did it at a higher level, right?
Oh, I didn't mean to. Damn. Oh
That's
well.
okay. We'll just use the first 5d8.
Yeah, it does it like in one.
I mean, you rolled 25. So
Or whenever I pulled my mouse away, it hit that plus sign.
that's okay. So 25. Okay.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, the first 5d8 is the one.
Okay. The guy who just shot at Uba and hit falls asleep. And this guy with the mace falls asleep.
Sleep has actually done a lot of work this round.
Yeah. It's good at low levels. It just, after that, it becomes Garbo.
I remember the one time I saw Jack try to use the sleep spell.
So the one guy in the bushes with the crossbow, just falls against one of the bush branches and is kind of half standing. The guy with the mace on the bridge just kind of collapses backwards in a heap of dust. It is then. Sorry, go ahead.
Could Sulveran speak during his bonus action?
Yeah, you could speak whenever you want.
Yeah, so he is going to shout out toward the captain. Do you want to listen to the lady now? And he's just going to gesture at the battlefield.
Okay. Make a persuasion check.
We did just kill his dog and ostensibly one of his friends.
If he's making a roll, I'd like to give him advantage by saying, they'll probably just kill you anyway.
It is then Uba's turn.
I thought you...
They don't say anything back.
Sorry, I thought you had, rolled a 12 and it had, shown up as a 14. I was like, oh, that's really good. No. I just can't read.
So the guy to Uba's left is asleep.
Yeah, this guy's asleep. So if you attacked him, you would have advantage on your attack.
Okay.
Don't you crit on a sleeping creature? How does that work? It's like coup de grace, right?
They're unconscious. It's not an auto crit, I don't believe. You still have to hit first.
Reading about this. For some reason.
But it would be dishonorable and less glory to hit a sleeping foe.
Yeah.
But you get to loot your kills.
Yeah.
I like that we're the opposite ancients on the shoulder out of character.
If you hit, it is a crit, but you still have to make the roll.
Okay. So is the only person that's awake right now this scout on the other side of the river?
No, the bandit captain didn't fall asleep either.
Okay. Uba...
I have little sleep icons, although they're a little small.
Oh, I see them. Okay. So Uba's going to try and attack the... is going to use Hunter's Mark on the bandit captain and is going to try to attack with the rapier again. They're not going to go for the sleeping person.
Okay. So you're gonna move to here, I'm assuming?
Yeah.
Okay. That's fine. That would hit. Because with you it's +6 at this point.
Okay, so let me do the Hunter's Mark first, and then do...
Wow.
Well, that wasn't helpful. Okay, let me try the rapier again. Oh, sorry, I keep rolling attack too.
It does it
Just
automatically.
get the damage.
You can always just hit that, and we can add the bonuses.
Yeah, if you
The
roll
extra.
the rapier, it'll roll for you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, and this person's a humanoid, so I think that would give
So
me...
it'd be 15 in total, because you're going to get a +2 here. All right, they are looking bloodied at this point. However, they are not dead. As they pull out their scimitar, they're getting ready to try to block your blows, but you manage to swing under their parry as you stab into them. Ugh, coughing up blood. The bandit captain is then going to go. Drop a die. They look at Sulveran as they're like, now's your chance to stop and say, "You killed my dog."
Actually,
You in the group sense. They're going to make 3 attacks against Medea again. Hopefully hitting once.
Royal you.
Wow. It's rolled 3 twos,
that is
guys.
3 twos
I rolled
in a
3
row.
twos in a row on a
Pretty
d20.
good.
So he's just like flailing about at this point, not nearly being as menacing as he's hoping. As Medea is just like, dancing around on the horse.
He's crying.
Not crying, no. Although he does look very angry. It is then your turn, Medea.
The chances of that, of 3 twos in a row, are like
Really
a tenth
low.
of a percent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tenth.
Like I said, I'm rolling pretty bad on this encounter.
Yeah, that's 1 in 8,000 for reference. Medea's going to look to the bandit captain in front of him and is going to say, "This doesn't seem to be going well." And then they're going to make 2 attacks. Does a 13 hit?
A 13 misses. As they like dodge out of the way, not quite dodging all the way, but their stud leather armor manages to catch the brunt of the blow. Same thing with the second shot.
Yeah, they just swing and crack.
Y'all just missing each other at the moment.
Medea is almost just staring at their face, waiting for something to happen with their emotion. They're like, do people cry when this happens? Do they?
Oh, weird. Okay. Longbow person's going to take 2 shots. Yeah, again. Hitting once, so you take another 4 points of damage. That guy's asleep, so it's then Will's turn.
I think Will has switched to Gathite at this point. And will say to Sulveran, "Set me your attack of attack." And then I'm going to walk forward and I guess knock this guy out with my scimitar. I have advantage, right?
Yeah.
What do I press to make it roll with advantage?
Shift click.
Left shift. Yeah.
I'm really good at doing.
Okay.
Is it a
so that's
automatic crit?
Is an automatic critical, so you can hit the plus and it will roll again.
From unconscious.
Do you just with the back end of your scimitar as they start to groan and look awake, but you get the sense that even though they're not fully unconscious, they're probably not going to get up either.
Great.
It is
That's
then Sleeping Bandit's turn. They're done. Back to Sulveran.
All right. Does Sulveran get the sense that he could? First off, this person is pretty much unharmed, right? This one has not been struck at all. The scout.
Yeah, no, they have not been hit once.
All right. So in that case, he's fairly confident that even if he was casting Sanctus Flame and it couldn't be done non-fatally, he's pretty sure he's not gonna do tremendous damage with that. So Dex saving throw or not. Yeah, Dex saving throw. And is it going? Maybe to do? There we go. He is just going to like point at the sky, kind of like you're calling a falcon, like that swirling motion with your hand,
Mhm.
and then just draw his hand down in that general direction.
As it flies through, they kind of duck behind the rock again as it doesn't manage to hit them. Just dashing against the rock in the ground. They are somewhat dexterous.
He is gonna also. All right, he is also going to step up and join Medea. And once more, he's going to. He's like standing over the body of the wolf. We can stand over bodies, right? That's
Yeah,
a thing we can do. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. He is just going to stand over the body of the wolf, and he's going to point at the others, and he says, "You can take them and leave."
You're saying this to the bandit captain?
Yeah, and he's pointing at the two sleeping. Is that another persuasion?
No, I'm not gonna make you roll. I had him roll. Kind of looks, thinks for a minute, and then he will, seeing that it is now 2 on 4, realistically speaking, he's gonna drop his scimitars. Clung, 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 clatter to the floor. You win. He just looks like
Do you want to bury your friend?
bad. Just leave.
Sulveran
Alright.
is going to nod, and he's going to sort of step back, giving him access to the wolf's body as well. And he is going to say rather mildly, he's going to point out, the next time it might be your end. And he is going to he is not even looking back. He is just pretty confidently stalking on.
Probably this is like an audience sees things, but none of the characters really notices. I don't think any of you would have a reason to really look back for very long. This guy, as you say that, just like gives a sidelong glance back at you with just like burning passion in his eyes. Like just pure like one day, he thinks in his head.
Medea's going to look to the captain and say, "This was a kind."
No, he waits till you guys are gone to do any kind of emotional reaction.
Oh no, Medea just says that as they pass by on.
Okay, well then he does that to all the group of you then. He will probably you guys hear as you're moving on, kind of like jostle the guy who Will had bludgeoned twice with their scimitar. You guys leave, moving onward with your journey, having soundly defeated these bandits who were clearly in over their head. At this point in time, could I get... Sorry, go ahead.
Can I, before we leave, can I ask once we're sometime up ahead to take a short rest?
You guys want? That's up to you.
Medea will ask mostly. Medea did take a decent bit of punishment.
Will kind of shrugs and says, "You could have paid 20 gold to avoid the punishment, you know? We do have something to be doing."
I would prefer they stop robbing people. Perhaps this will teach them something.
It seems like you've done everything in half measures. You should have killed them if you didn't want them to rob again. They'll just wait for people that are better pickings. And Will casts healing word on Medea. to like mainly end the conversation.
Shutting you up with healing. When she says that, Sulveran is going to sort of stop and just slowly turn. So,
Oh, second level.
Okay.
can you explain then what your entire preferred course of action would have been? 20 gold, and then they continue robbing others? Take a sound beating, and they either continue robbing others or nurse it, or slaughter, which you would have truly preferred the first.
I don't necessarily see why we need to be the arbiter of the justice for this region, but I would have probably preferred the first or the last. Doing the middle is the worst. We killed people, well, Uber killed people, and a dog died for essentially no reason.
Do you want us to go back?
Will laughs and then just keeps walking and is no longer interested in having the conversation based on Medea. Like, but we'll look at Sulveran and be like, give a little shrug and just be thinking about things.
Sulveran is actually like doing his best to match his pace to Will's, but he's not saying anything. He's just kind of trying to, and it's actually he's probably struggling to keep up a little because he's got heavy armor and he's not particularly strong. So
Let's have an athletics offer who can walk purposefully forward the fastest.
Yeah.
I think it's still Sulveran. If you can wear heavy armor,
pretty
you're faster
close.
than Will is. But Will can maybe walk faster for longer. Alright.
Well, that was
Sorry,
actually a roll, but
hit.
that's okay.
No, I didn't intend to hit anything. I just grabbed my.
This
my
is Will's walking speed. Less than average.
It's if we take the 5 and add your athletics, it becomes 8. So it's
Yeah.
slightly
We did it.
slower than Will.
I think Will will
It's
probably like
Just
eventually.
awkward distance now. It's just far enough.
I think Will will eventually, if it's obvious that Sulveran's trying to match her pace, be more like amiable for walking next to Sulveran instead of just like trying to push forward and not have to talk to Medea.
It's just more awkward that way.
Will's trying to move at a pace that's annoying for a horse. It's like a slight canter. It's not like a trot or a gallop. It's like just an annoying pace.
Medea is fine not talking to Will about this further. They don't understand. They do not have the charisma to like grasp the social norm being communicated here.
Do horses? Can I suggestion a horse? It's an unrelated question.
I believe that they have to speak
I don't think I can.
the language that you do.
Would I hear them spellcasting if they did?
Probably. But I mean, they can't
Yeah.
suggestion the horse anyways.
I just find it
Yeah.
amusing, the idea of like suggestioning a horse out from under someone. Probably not Medea.
Yeah, they have to understand you. Okay.
I think Will probably says to Sulveran in Gathite, maybe it's just we are two different crews that don't need to travel together forever.
Sulveran always like he's every time you've spoken to him in Gathite so far, it's mostly been like a comment in the heat of the battle or him noticing the spells. But I don't think he's ever had like the opportunity to actually talk back in not battle. Am I correct in that?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, so he his shoulders get a little tight and he is quiet for longer than it usually takes him to work out a response in common. despite the fact that he's somewhat unfamiliar with common.
Hmm.
And he's going to say after a time, perhaps, but my entire band was taken over when I was fairly young, and many of us died in the doing of it. But we did once the wounds had healed, learn to get along. I don't think we have done near so much to each other as that.
Will cocks her head, processing the information, and looks and says, "I'm not entirely sure the two situations correlate." She has to think for ages to work out how to put correlate into Gathite. Like it's like 3 words put together. She maybe just says correlate in common in the middle of the sentence.
Yeah, and then at that word in common, Sulveran is just like,
She looks apologetic that her Gathite doesn't cover that word. Says, "Look, I have traveled with 2 different crews. They're very opposite. One strict, one not. One a little bit more willing to do the dirty work that is required. But this is a different problem for me. It's not that anything has been done to me. It's whether or not I can watch everyone do things to other people."
Sulveran is going to just, he's going to stop, fall slightly behind, and then hustle to keep up with his armor clanking. Or clacking, I guess, since it's mostly bones instead of metal. Interesting. That is, at its core, I think why I found myself here to begin with. And he's just gonna look at Will and just kind of nod and sort of slow down in a way that he's indicating that he's giving you space if that's what is needed.
Will continues her normal pace. It's continue to think about whether she should just become far more bloodthirsty, or maybe she's very much thinking that maybe she's at fault and is maybe I should just kill people. Maybe I'm the weird one for not wanting to taunt people as we fight them, despite the fact that I can do that in a way that is actually effective.
Yeah, he's gonna sidle back to get into line with Uba next because he knows that that he's still avoiding the horse, and so he's going to figure out wherever they are avoiding that horse. He is actually going to put himself between the sight of the horse and Uba.
Very kind of you.
You guys continue on in this fashion for some time. Eventually you come to around evening, it starts to rain slightly, like a gentle downpour, linking on the various on the dirt around you, on both Medea and Sulveran's armor, sort of softly tinking. And you start to pass by what seems to be a small shrine, maybe to the gods, maybe just to the forest. 5 stones, a large, clearly stood upright, with some various kinds of runic drawings and markings on it.
Maybe it'll ask if we can take a detour to pray at it for a second. At least just on their own if no one else wants to.
Yeah, it's right offside the road.
What sort of shrine was it?
It's unclear at this distance. You can make a religion check if you want. It seems to be 5 standing stones.
You said religion?
Yes, religion.
I think Uva's gonna try to, since they're from this area.
Sure. That's Blake. You've rolled really well.
Are standing stones a tradition in the mountains where Sulveran comes from?
Yes, I think they are.
Okay. So in that case, he will make a religion check instead of just trying to look it over.
Okay.
I'm cleric.
So yeah. So Medea and Uba, you both kind of think about this. Both of you have probably seen these before. Uba, you know these to be kind of druidic standing stones. They're meant to offer be places where you can offer praise to the various spirits of the land as opposed to a particular god. Although clerics of Aramis, the goddess of nature, will often come to pray at these as well. They are again, it's 5 standing stones arrayed in like a semicircle, each marked with a different sigil for the various kinds of essences of nature or of the body. So sort of like spirit and flesh, bone, blood, etc.
And will know that they're also druidic standing stones.
I'm sure. That's fine.
Can I make a roll to like understand the sigils, specifically if there's one to do with death or anything like that?
Yeah, that would be a real
Or like renewance, religion. 15.
Yes, there is one of them that's kind of connected. So you can kind of see a life cycle here, life to death, you know, body to bone kind of thing, or flesh to bone kind of thing.
Will take out from inside her coat the baby outfit from the druid and walk to the one about if it's a life cycle, then the first step in the life cycle, and like just using the flat of her scimitar, dig up a couple of like not maybe 1 inch of dirt to bury it under, and we'll say the exact same funeral rites she gave to the druid when he died.
Are those the ones that she used in the tavern as well to Syl?
No, that was a very general like room thing. This is like in our session 0 we Will gave funeral rites to the druid, and she wants to bury the last piece of that she has here because it feels like a place that he
You
will
pull out
be.
you pull out this little tattered baby onesie or child onesie and bury it beneath the ground. Careful not to disturb any of the like markings near the standing stone because there are some drawings on the floor as well. You just kind of quietly dig up a small hole and bury it over, patting the earth back down as it's quite easy as the ground is soft from the gentle rain that's pouring around you guys. And you say a few words over this, and I don't know if you have inspiration, but you can take inspiration from that.
All of my inspirations to do with this druid, we're going to have to keep coming back to that. I don't have inspiration. But I will also cut a triangle of fabric out of my brand new coat off the cuff and like put that on top and be like, because for her it connects the 2 funeral rituals where they were both buried under a shroud.
Okay.
Is there any sort of concealment, or is this done in the open while everyone's in the circle?
I was gone for a little bit. This is the same day. Like, oh.
It's quite later. It's like several hours later, but yeah.
Yeah, no, she's not hiding anything. She's also not explaining anything. But yeah, she does it out in the open.
Medea quietly turns their back as they do this, sign of respect.
This quiet moment slowly starts to pass as you all kind of finish your various prayer or rituals, whatever you choose to do at this small place of worship. And you kind of have a moment where you all feel that everyone has had their time here and you can move on now. You continue on down the various paths that you are taking, moving along quite swiftly at this point. Eventually, it does become nightfall, and you begin to make camp. You set up a fire as the rain starts to not completely stop, but it really fades into a trickle over the as evening becomes nightfall, and then nightfall becomes darkness. You all sit around the fire. Medea, I think, probably propped up against the horse, which is like laying down and slowly chewing or eating some oats, whatever food you might have brought for it.
Yeah, they're sharing their ration with the horse in the middle of the night.
Sure. And a quiet night passes, and you continue onward today.
Can we take a long rest?
Yes, if you would like to, you can take a long rest. And why don't we take a long rest in real life, or at least a short rest, and take a 5-minute break? It is about that time. We've been going.
I'm gonna go eat a lot of food.
About
really?
2 hours.
Can I ask to go for 10 minutes if it's okay?
Sure, that's fine.
Okay. I will be back.
A quick question. Uba never asked for help with healing. I rolled 1 hit dice. Can I roll more? Can I only roll 1?
You can roll as many as you have.
Okay.
Will also will. Oh,
All right, and we're back. Hello, everybody. So you guys continue wandering along, and at this point in time, I do want a survival check from whoever is kind of leading the expedition. I know several of you have survival. I'm not sure who's the best. I think either Uba or Medea.
I assume Uba would have better survival.
Yeah, I think just because Uba in general has been out in the woods like constantly, so I'll roll a survival. Hopefully it's good.
Okay, you can have advantage
can roll with
because
advantage.
yeah, Medea is ahead of you.
I'm hoping.
Okay,
You just
so I'll
click
roll
again.
then.
Oh, I actually have better survival than you.
Yay.
This is their terrain, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
I think they would have advantage anyways, actually.
Yeah.
Not that we're really doing
Yeah, because it's
favorite
my terrain.
But this would
Yeah.
be your terrain, quote unquote. Okay. So following along the sort of description, you weren't given a map, but Cala told you where to go to try to find the entrance. Eventually, you start to come to part of the forest that is unnaturally thick. There is the boughs of the trees become almost impossible to see through. The each tree trunk and the bushes that are standing next to them are thick, like hedgerows. You couldn't get through if you tried normally. You kind of have to circle around for a little bit until eventually you come to what seems to you all to be an entryway. There's a path leading in, deep, like covered in darkness, into this sort of thick hedgerow like forest.
Would I
image.
maybe
Yes.
do a nature check to know if this is any kind of like normal biome?
No, it's unnatural. You don't have to make it. It's clearly unnatural to any of you. No normal forest would be impassable in all directions like this.
Is there any historical note of somewhere like this?
You can make a roll.
I
I think it would
I
really
will
be.
consult
I think it
with-
would really be an Arcana check rather than history check. But
Oh, can I make
will
an Arcana
consult
check?
with-
Because I know about
Sure.
the dragon thing. 20 something.
25.
25.
I'll wait for Medea to roll.
okay. 23.
Okay, you both roll well. So, Will, you would probably be most familiar with stories of parts of the forest like this in the Spanning Wood, which is this large, expansive wood that is on the peninsula is the wrong word, but it's a landmass that kind of straddles two oceans, so it's got large oceans on either side. It's very thin, but it continues around. It's not like quite peninsular. But it is full of thick forest, and there are parts of it which is said to be impassable unless you know the proper ways, the proper paths. The trees, the vegetation just grows too close together. You couldn't hope to cut your way through without, days of effort, if anything like that. And it's said to be that there's creatures there which make the forest kind of grow strong and hidden away from people like this. Medea, you've heard tale of certainly magical forests like this that kind of grow to keep outsiders away. Some are grown by druids, although this one seems too large for that. But some druid thickets are made to be like this, where protected against outsiders.
Would I know if there's a way through? Like, would I know if there's a passcode or what you normally do to get through these?
Well, you found the
Even if it's not
entrance.
through, like,
Uba has found the entrance, as I've said, but normally you just have to know the ways. You might be able to, if you were a druid or have druidic arts, you might be able to part the vegetation with your own magic and kind of glide through. But for normal people without those kinds of expertise, you kind of just have to know how to get through it. You have to know the paths. You have to walk through the forest maze in order to get to whatever the destination might be.
We
are there any Are there any children's tales about like how people get through these?
Certainly, there are stories of children wandering in on accident, never finding their way out. Some having to, use string to find their ways out. Normal kinds of maze tricks are, applicable in these situations at times. But they're not, strictly speaking, meant to be hostile to people who wander in. They're more meant to keep out people who might want to hurt the forest or try to do harm to whatever is living in the maze.
We meant to not be able to see anything on the screen.
Perhaps let me forget.
Yeah, I think Will says, well, it's I think
There you
part
go.
of the spanning wood. It cute. I think we just probably have to know the way or find the way. It's not like mazes are that hard, right?
I know something of them. I've dealt with stories of them when I was younger. I certainly tell them. I don't assume anybody has the long piece of string.
You'll look around.
Do I have, due to the nature of the fact that I use my Tinker's tools for instruments normally, do I have like a big spool of
You have a spool
string that I can
of
use?
string, although it's probably not.
Yeah, it's not huge.
It could be as long as 100 feet, but that still wouldn't do you much in this kind of situation.
What about... Would I know if maps would work from the stories, or does it have to be string?
If what would work?
Like if you made it. Maps, like drawn maps as you go through, or does it have
It
to be
depends. Depends on the magic. It could be a shifting maze. It could be a shifting maze. It could not be.
Could I use my navigator's tools for this?
Probably not. You could try. I mean, you haven't even attempted to go in yet, as far as I'm aware. You're all standing at this entryway.
I was asking, would navigator's tools have the stuff to make a map?
It would, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, they're gonna pull them out and they're gonna say, I can try to map out where we're going as we go, but
the other thing is that will only help you get out. It won't do anything for you going forward.
It's more about not getting lost and not like retracing steps, stuff like that.
This is roughly where Cala told us to come, right?
Yes, this seems to be the right spot. She did mention a maze, so
probably partly to do with the dragon's lair, right? If it's some kind of nature dragon, in which case it's in its interest for us to get to it, whether or not we're allowed out afterwards. Will kind of shrugs. All right, and I guess we'll just step through the entrance into the maze.
You begin to move through.
How dark does it look from the exterior?
It's not pitch black, but it's it's like being in a bush. It's going to be like a cloudy day at best, a very cloudy day.
Medea will light the tip of their glaive with the light cantrip. Make looking around easier.
Yeah, you now have a little bit of light. It would be dim light, I would say, not dark light, if mechanically that matters.
Yeah.
What holy symbol does Medea carry?
Oh, Medea doesn't have to use a holy symbol. Instead, they on their shields as a holy symbol, they carry a holy symbol of Alveron. It's like a small scrolled out book metallically with different symbols all over.
All right. Yeah, Will just walks into the maze, I guess.
It's going to be right behind you.
You begin making your way into the maze. Could I get another survival check? Uba. Again with advantage, yes.
Okay, sure.
And
how do I roll with advantage by clicking on survival?
Shift click.
Shift. Okay.
Sulveran.
I was just gonna say that as we are, creeping through this scary place, to Sulveran, it's very unsettling because he's never been in such a warm and wooded maze before. And so he is constantly kind of like circling around the others so that he can just like support them with his guidance.
Okay.
So
Uba, you begin to lead them through the maze, and at first it's not particularly maze-like. You go on straight for a while, and then twisting, curving paths, but there's no branches or anything like that. You're never faced with a T with a decision to make. Eventually, however, you do come into a portion which is very kind of what you think of as a traditional maze. There's, left turn, right turn, straight. And you guys begin using all the normal maze tricks. You're keeping to the right, whatever it might be, trying to, keeping a map and retracing your steps. Yes.
On that note, Sulveran's specific maze trick would be he has his alpenstock, which he normally uses to help himself kind of like balance in the ice with the pointy tip, and he is just like dragging it very heavily, the pointed tip in the dirt.
Okay, cool. So you're very much marking your paths out. You go about this for a long while, but you immediately get the sense that you're not sure if this is working. It seems to be. The maze is just very long. You're walking for hours at this point. You don't ever feel like you're getting turned around. You're just having to continue on and on and on. And you hit dead ends at times, but retracing, going back a little bit, and then continuing on with the next logical course of action, you continue onward. Eventually you make your way from one maze section to another, feeling like you've exited at least the initial portion and moved on to a second one. As you're wandering along through these sort of hedgerows, the light of the glaive being the brightest light around you, kind of you probably also, Medea, have to walk your horse, just because of the dimensions of everything, unless you want to leave it at the entrance.
No, Medea will walk the horse.
Yeah, you'll walk the horse in. The clopping of the horse. The horse seems very unnerved by this whole situation. Eventually, you all come to a corner, and Medea, you're the first to see this. There is a large humanoid figure slumped over, kind of leaning against part of the maze. They're wearing furs of various kinds. Their faces obscured. They have a long great axe in one hand, and they appear to be sleeping.
Would I know if... Does this seem like a fey creature?
You can't see their face at all. They're obscured by the furs, seemingly intentionally. Although they are large, probably larger than Sulveran as you're looking at them.
So hold up a hand and point to the figure, and look to Will and say, would you like to talk with them? I assume it is some sort of guardian. Trespass keeper.
Oh, sure. We're not just going to stab them in their sleep? And
Well,
Will walks forward and says, how do you wake up someone that might be...
Hostile?
I think Will just walks forward and says, hello there, friend. And hopes that wakes them up.
Eyes flash open, like stones, dark obsidian, piercing you now, as they kind of had their face wrapped. Like I said, they were very much obscured. Their grip on the axe tightens as they stand to their full height, a very large, seemingly Gathite person. They kind of pull down the cowl a little bit to reveal their mouth. Very stern face as they look towering down at you. Again, even taller than Sulveran. And they'll, regard you for a moment. It says, Traveler, what are you doing here?
We've come to
glance at all of you.
To
Illusions.
beseech the.
Like looking at you strangely, but then shakes his head.
Sure. We've come to beseech the Shimmering Scholar for some information about, some various things of not insignificant importance.
I see. Well, you may fare better than I. I have come some time ago and have been wandering these paths. They look again like to you a little strangely. You're not sure. There's something not quite right about this person. They seem just a little bit off. Almost like they're looking past you most of the time. And they'll like focus their eyes once more and say, "How long have you been here?"
Sulveran had I'll say that Sulveran had kind of stalked to stay close to Will, not as trusting of the downed figure as Will seemed to be. But as soon as the Gathite stood up, he just sort of stopped and is still standing there.
Hard to say. I think we've been walking for quite some time, but the maze is a little bit difficult to keep track of things in.
Yes, I have found this to be true. You bring kin with you. What is your name? As he looks to Sulveran.
Sulveran has to stop for a second. Sulveran, safe. And then I'm Sulveran, and you are?
I have had many names. And he'll, in Gathite, he'll say, Bear, Wanderer. Most call me, Pelagon.
Sulveran is going to, he's going to take a look at Will, and then he is just going to turn back. I was once safekeeper, but now I have no name.
Will looks at Sulveran and smiles and responds, I was once woodwalker.
They call me now the Mad. Or I am sick.
And I make an Arcana check to see if he seems to be afflicted by some kind of magical sickness. I also have medicine proficiency. But...
Yes. I think Arcana would be most appropriate here.
Do I have to say I'm using inspiration first, or can I use it after?
You can use it after with inspiration, yeah.
I'm going to assume 22 is fine.
Okay. So you're looking. There is something off about his eyes. The sort of glassy quality to it You've seen this occur naturally, although you are aware of curses which cause slow forms of madness, sudden rages, or bouts of extreme forgetfulness that can kind of over time just erode the mind until there is not much sentience left. This
Have I
seems
heard-
to be the affliction that this man is suffering from.
Have I heard of this man before?
No, you would have had no reason to ever have heard of this person.
Yeah.
Oh, now I want to know. Have I heard of...
The only person who
Gathite?
I will allow to roll a history check here is Sulveran.
I might have had Gathite like knowledge.
Yeah. Sulveran is very quietly watching him and setting him after he had said that he is called mad. And before he asks or before he starts really thinking about what he knows in this respect, he is going to I know it is a difficult question for both of us so far from home, but what was your clan's name?
I am of the Stakili.
All right, and so given that, he is going to think about what he knows.
Okay. You've heard the name once or twice, but details are you can't think of many. You think that they're from the northernmost reaches of the mountains, whereas your clan is more of the southern areas. So you've heard of this clan, but you haven't had much interaction with them, and you're struggling to think of many details.
Yeah, Sulveran is going to nod, and he's going to look again at Will and then at the others, and back to the mad. We're traveling through this place. Would you travel with us for a time?
Yeah. You would allow such a thing? A mere waste as I, who should have taken the peaceful death instead of sought this place. If that is your wish, then I would travel with you. Should you continue to allow it?
Well, Will says, if you travel with us and we do reach the Shimmering Scholar, perhaps it can do something about. And she kind of gestures towards the Gathite's head. Says, some of the madness, but if not, it's always nice to have some company while traveling.
Hmm. Yes.
Stranger on a road who means no harm.
Yes.
Have you any stories to share while we travel?
Stories. Stories. I have made stories. Of
Would you
stories,
like
I
to tell
am.
us?
Yes, let us continue walking. I have rested for too long. Too long. I will share with you all. And he begins to saddle his axe on a belt loop. To any of you, it would be a great axe, and to put it on a belt loop, it would drag on the floor. Maybe not Sulveran, but it would still be quite long for you to wear on your belt. But for this guy, it's like putting a long hatchet on your belt, or even a sword. It doesn't particularly bother him, and he'll
The
hold.
opposite of Uber.
Yeah, he'll hold the axe head in one hand, gripping it tightly at all times as you all continue on walking through the maze, and he starts to say, long ago I was a pup in my tribe, and I earned the name Bear because I, in my pride, thought to wrestle best the creatures of the mountains. For that I earned scars, and he'll pull down one hide to reveal a large gash on his chest. But I also earned trophies. He'll jangle a necklace, teeth, claws. After
Certainly
that,
something to
yes. Something to what?
Something to be proud of.
Pride in feats of arms. That was my one-time goal. I earned the name Wanderer for leaving my tribe, which was... He'll look to Sulveran. As you know, taboo. Not something done easily or quickly. I fought many creatures. Drakes, men, demons. And he'll like trail off for a long while as you're kind of like waiting for him to continue this list, but he never speaks for maybe about a minute unless one of you like jostles him.
Medea will lightly like put a hand on the shoulder.
He grips it like for a moment too strong, but then like catches himself and lets it go and says,
Medea is unperturbed.
apologies.
No need. Memory is a fickle thing.
I earned the name the Mad when I tried to return to my tribe, and I was too boastful. The gods or something, perhaps a demon, that I have not learned, cursed me with a wasting sickness of the mind. I have hurt people close to me, and for that I have imposed on myself a banishment. Either I find a cure or I die. This dragon has been my last hope. For either case, I will die
My
here
friend,
or I will be cured.
my friend. Perhaps if you are afflicted with cases of madness, you should set down your act. Violence does not seem to have solved so many problems for you.
Violence is what I am. These hands were made for nothing else. So I seek a dragon, that I might best it or die, that it might cure me or else kill me.
Perhaps the dragon will not ask you to best it, but just to share some story.
And perhaps I might find a new life.
Perhaps you might find closure. None of us dictate what life gives us. Whatever the case, this is a long night. Be frank, Hank. Do you want more violence now?
When I was born, I was told that my life would be bloody, and so I accepted my fate gladly. And now I wonder if I should have fought against such things. I am not ashamed of what I've done, but could it have been better? I do not know. Might I have avoided all of this? Perhaps. And he grows like, again, body tenses, neck straining. And then he calms himself once more. It has been a test of my blood, this thing. And I have beaten many things, and I will beat this. But I might also die.
As he says that, and as he sees him struggling, Sulveran is going to kind of insert himself into that space pretty shamelessly, despite the fact that he is. I was just trying to give it to him. massive, and he is just going to lightly thump him against the chest, and tell him, "I share my strength with you." And so he is
Make
concentrating on guidance.
Oh, you're going to give him guidance? Okay.
Yeah.
That works then. Never mind.
Yeah. He's just trying to like watch him, and so as he sees him, he's just trying to reach out every time he sees him struggle. As from this point on, when he sees him tense up, he is going to just reach out and touch him again, in that familiar way.
He seems very, even beyond the guidance, very calmed by your presence, by your touch, by having seemingly another. You get the sense that he has been away longer than you have, even from home, and as you have come to notice that Gathite are not very common out here, and so your presence is assuages his loneliness in this moment.
He's gonna kind of gesture at Medea, and he's going to say, "You should listen to them. They are wise. They pulled me. Have you seen the desert?"
Vast expanse of nothing. Like my mind now, I have trekked these sands and met with Elkar. Yes, I have been there once upon a time. Once.
My friend, I offer you food, and if we come upon a fight, I will take it upon myself to defend you.
He nods. Such kindness has been rare to me. Many see my form and are afraid, and at mention of sickness run away, or simply become afraid.
My friend, I ask, however, but I will only ask this once more. It is your choice freely. If you are to keep that weapon on, when you meet that dragon, violence will bring you nothing but death. If that is what you wish, there are much easier ways to get that.
I will stay my hand as long as I can while you travel with me. I sense that you will have purpose greater than mine, perhaps, and you have shown kindness to an unkind brute. So I will do as you ask, as my mind allows.
He'll nod. We will make it through.
If that time runs out, my brother, I will call the birds for you.
I think for the first time
Perhaps his alpha
notices.
stock.
Yeah, he for the first time maybe notices like your raiments is the wrong word, but priestly accoutrement, and says, "It is right that one learned in death should be here at this moment. I will either move on or move on." And once again, he grows silent for a while, and I think, unless you continue to ask him questions, he will just kind of follow you. He seems very absent-minded again. Like he at times has to be like, poked slightly. He'll like stop walking, or if you guys stop to have a drink for a moment, you have to like remind him. He won't just move on his own. He has to be kind of pushed along a little bit. But he continues to follow you along, and particularly with Sulveran's help, he has moments, not super often. You're going through this maze for a while, but every half hour, every hour, where he tenses for a second, and then like catches himself and releases. And as you continue to wander through the maze, he said he will also help you guys out a little bit, and he'll say, that way is nothing. I've been down. We should try this path. And although he will go down whichever way that you choose, he's not bothered if you don't take his advice.
Wish I had thaumaturgy. I could just shout for this dragon.
Eventually, you all move along to arrive at a massive tree. Seemingly, maybe not the center, but it feels central to the maze. You come to a large open clearing, and you find yourself standing amidst roots as tall as Sulveran or as tall as Paladin, much larger than Uba. Uba, you have to like scramble over it. At the center is a massive tree trunk, maybe 100 feet wide or so. And it feels very large. And Paladin will say, I have never gotten this far, and yet you lead me here in a day.
Does the place seem safe? Like, is this a natural grove?
This is a natural, maybe not particularly natural, but it does seem calm and safe. Like I said, you're in a very wide opening. The boughs of this tree are much up above you. It's still covering. You probably could fly out if you really wanted to, but it's very high. You could try to climb it if you wish. It does seem taller than the trees around it. But you do feel safe here. It is a calming effect. And really at no point during the maze have you ever felt particularly in danger. It's just confusion more during the maze. But here that even dissipates. You just feel calm, the calm of nature.
My friend, when is the last time you slept fully? Upon bedding.
Upon bedding. Many months.
How many hours have we been traveling today?
You've been traveling now about 6 hours. It's getting towards the time where you might want to make camp, but you could keep going.
I think if we are going to stop anywhere, this place feels as safe as any place. And Medea will begin to pull out their blanket and bedroll and say, I will end this for you till the night, because should we not part again, I hope to give you at least one good night's rest.
The blanket is a bit small for him, but he takes it graciously and wraps himself as best he can in it. Goes and
if it doesn't like cover it like them fully, they'll take off their like ginormous cloak and lay it over them.
Okay. Like put it over their feet.
Alveron is going to watch that, and
out.
he's going to lean into Will. And he's going to say, see, there are reasons that I follow them besides the violence in combat. He says that in Gathite and very low.
Will musters the entirety of her strength and punches Sulveran like in the chest, and says, "Back in Gathite, does me doing that one action make me violent? Also, I can roll, but I have -2 strength, so it's not going to hurt you."
I think we'll just you hit them. It's not
I
as
have
hard
to get through your AC.
as it doesn't particularly hurt.
But I think Sulveran sees that it is the entirety of Will's strength.
Sulveran actually like reaches up and just briefly covers his mouth, and then just reaches out and he pats Will on the shoulder, and he is going to go and kind of settle in next to the Gathite before he can get where he's like really looking like he's ready to sleep. And what precautions should we take? What happens? Do you know what happens at night?
As soon as Medea lays these blankets down on him, this man is unconscious. Just like
Aw.
Before he goes to bed, I would like to ask them if I would like to use the spell Ceremony.
okay. Yeah, you could do this like as you're preparing camp. What do you want
What
to
a wonderful opportunity.
What do you want to do with
They're
ceremony?
gonna get married. They're gonna get
Yeah.
married.
I want to try. Does it seem like he's drifted away from his original intentions in life?
Yes, I would say definitely he has drifted away from his original intentions in life.
He'll also ask Sulveran for help in this in particular. Like specifically ask, can you give me some guidance? I want to help them go through a ritual from it's seen as a rite of passage to relax the mind, perhaps find clarity. The thing I'm trying to do in ceremony is called atonement.
Is this in advance of him going to sleep? Or has he already
And
okay. Sulveran is going to nod at Medea and he says, I will give you my guidance if you explain to him first what you are seeking to do.
of course.
And he grants you permission.
I think just so for Sarah's sake, I think in this instance, I like the idea of atonement. The mechanical thing is going to be slightly different because I think as written, it would do the opposite of what you kind of want it to do. But
Okay.
I was worried
been-
about that.
Yeah, I was like, I'm pretty sure you're gonna turn someone who doesn't want to be violent back into a violent person.
But I will
I mean,
in
maybe
this
that's
instance.
what Medea's about, right? There's
Yeah.
little evidence thus far that that's not what Medea's about.
In this
Yes.
instance, if you want to, I will say, like for this person in particular, you could like try to suppress the effects of the rage portion of his curse using atonement for a day or so.
Yeah.
Do you have
Yeah, okay.
25 GP worth of powdered silver?
Do I?
I don't know.
I don't have any gold. So.
It's that
I
or
have-
holy water, an equivalent amount of holy
I
water.
have that silver ring, right?
Mhm.
Oh, you
Yeah.
could use ceremony for as well.
And you could dedicate him to a god service if you wanted to.
Oh.
I have that silver ring, right? That you said that would be part of that 14,
Yeah.
potentially part of worth 14
If
gold
you
if I traded
want
it.
to try to make some crushed silver, you could just give me a strength check, an athletics check.
I have Tinker's tools. If
Tinker's tools, I
that would help.
think I would just let you do it with Tinker's tools.
Medea will also explain to them what they're doing, and they're going to say, before we go through the next part of the maze, I'd like to attempt a rite that may make it easier to deal with your emotions. Perhaps move on from the rage, at least for a moment.
He just nods.
Mhm.
But for like too long, maybe. He just keeps nodding for a moment before he stops.
Medea will lightly place a hand on their head as they're nodding and be like, "You can stop now."
He looks at you, ready.
Yeah. So we have the powdered silver then.
Okay.
I mean, you have to ask Will.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And you probably also have to ask Sulveran because he doesn't know
Yeah.
what this rite is.
Yeah, we.
Okay.
He doesn't
Neither of
know
us
what's in
know
your head.
ceremony. I guess you do.
She will. They're going to ask Sulveran. I need some silver to do this, but I don't have it on me.
So he is going to stop for a very long moment. Silver. Ironic. And he is going to pull from his finger a silver ring. Whole, or must I do something to it first?
It must be crushed into a fine powder.
He is going to just nod. I see. The alpenstock, not so good for this without a slab. And he's just stuck kind of staring at this ring and that request. Much like the other Gathite, just too long.
They're going to go over to. They're going to look at it and say, perhaps the others have something they could use. We draw this out. And I'll walk to Willow and say, they'll explain what the ritual they're doing is, the idea behind it, that it could suppress their rage for a time. But the thing is, I need to.
Go ahead.
They'll say, but I need to crush some silver. I have no tools for it.
Will thinks for a second. Says, I could probably just rig something up that does it. And kind of looks over at Silver and still looking at the ring, I guess, and says, "Is that worth enough?"
Sulveran is going to sort of in this people's money, I'm not certain, but I think it's worth enough to me. And he is just going to pass it over because presumably he heard Will say that, or Will say that she could rig something up, and he's just going to pass it over and take his seat next to Ube with his like elbows on his knees, not looking over at the two.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Will just says, "I'm sure gods are not that picky about the actual worth of things they're used in their spells."
Mm-hmm.
And we'll rig up like some little container with a bunch of like, I don't know, something in it that you can shake and it will eventually powder the entire ring with the power of D&D Fantasyland physics.
D&D, yeah, you do Tinker's Tools and rig up something that lets you powder some silver. You take the ring and maybe like a couple silver that other people have to just make it enough. But eventually you have a large handful of powdered silver for this ceremony.
Pour it into like probably one of the bags Cala paid coins in, which is now empty because I've spent most of my money, and just hands it to Medea, and then kind of looks at Silver and says, "Sulveran, do you know what the word for shimmering is in Gathite?"
Sulveran is just going to look up, shimmering the way the light comes through the trees.
Will nods.
And he's just very quiet for a moment. And he will give you a word in Gathite. I was going to go with a German word, but
Sure.
I don't want to commit to that every time.
Will spent this whole time trying to think of what shimmering would be in Gathite, and it's like, I've never learnt that word. Nobody said that word near me.
Yeah.
But like, I need that word for a thing. And goes back to, she's writing on a piece of paper.
Okay.
But we'll
and yeah, since we're at camp, there will be another note passed to you at some point during this, and I'll just drop it in the chat.
Will pays a lot of attention to the casting of ceremony because she's interested in religion and she doesn't know that much about it.
Can I specifically ask, Medea before this we'll specifically ask if Sulveran has any way to help them?
Yeah,
Sort of
Sulveran is going to, he's going to force himself up, and he is going to kind of sit knee to knee with you, with like one hand just comfortably on armor-clad thigh, and give you guidance.
Okay. Out of 14. I think for the ritual, what it looks like is, Andrew, I don't know if you'll allow this, but I'd like to try to infuse my lay on hand and whatever magic I have specifically into the moss, and then fuse it and then pour the silver into the moss.
Okay.
And begins to clump it together into like this almost fine dye-ish texture from this green moss, leaving what remnants of healing they have into this, and then press it across the forehead
Okay.
and spread it gently.
So it like starts to glow suddenly. Go ahead and make the requisite please an insight check.
Yes, that's a
Plus
22
4.
total.
Okay. Yes. Without the guidance, that would have been a failure. Just so the stream knows, they rolled a 16.
Yeah.
They had a +2, but they needed a 20. So the extra +4 from guidance is what put them over the top.
Yeah.
I think you all sit down. This takes some time as you kind of like pull out the moss, begin to like slowly pour this crushed silver into it, and it starts to glow suddenly. And you say some words. You begin to spread it across their forehead, and I think as you do so, the light both from your hand and from the silver from the moss begins to shine until it appears as though that this person has a sort of moss silvery, almost a green-white halo on their head. And the moss seems to almost form a crown on them as the ritual ends. And they blink. Polygon. I feel better.
Get rest, my friend.
At which point you give them the blanket and the thing, and they just like crash like a baby, in the car or something like that.
Aww.
Oh,
Medea will
Big
next
baby.
to them,
Yeah,
hunched
an
over with the
extremely
spear
large
held up.
baby. Okay.
what does she have held up?
She's holding up her spear, like sitting forward like this, like has it in the middle of them, like their head just tilted forward slightly.
All right. Sulveran is going to turn to Medea, and he's going to just sort of like clutch their shoulder really hard for a long moment, and nod, and then just stalk a little bit away, just kind of standing around for a few minutes before bedtime.
I think while after the ceremonies happened, since Will didn't want to deal with that, Will has written a song in Gathite, and will play for her song of rest for this rest. Not that it's necessary. This quite an uplifting song for a change, but it's she's written a song called "Ode to the Shimmering Dragon," in which she attempts to beseech the dragon to grant passage through the maze to those that wish to find the thing, and tells this story of probably a trio of Gathite that are searching for the entrance to the Green Dragon's lair.
Go ahead and make a performance check. With
Also,
advantage.
this is one of the few times ever that she's not sea shanty singing. It's her proper head voice, nice, very airy. It's she very rarely sings in her purest voice, and she's singing that in Gathite, so it sounds very weird. You say performance with advantage?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't click the advantage.
Or the hurdy-gurdy with advantage.
All right. Well, it was
Thank God
23.
for that advantage.
Good. Yeah,
I got
it
the
was a
plus
second. It was a second roll, but still, it is melodic, beautiful. It seems to carry beyond the confines of this little grove, almost mystically so. The birds all quiet and stop to watch, and maybe even provide a little bit of backing, a call and response as they pick up your song slowly as you continue to sing until the forest seems to be singing along with you as it radiates outwards from this point, almost like an echo back towards you. You all bed down for the night after this, Will feeling a bit strange, interesting, different. You've had a long couple of days, long few days, a very long week, really. And at some point, as you are drifting, not quite asleep yet, not fully asleep, you can hear a voice in your head, like clinking of crystal, like somebody, toasting, ding, or even playing on like water glasses on the rims, something like that, something echoey, light, bright, and loud. And you hear a response that is find me, find me. Help me, and you will be helped. And you kind of start a little bit thinking, was that a dream? Like, was it like a weird, like, sleep dream? Or did you hear that as you were nodding off? You're not quite sure. And you spend some time thinking about this before eventually you nod off in actuality, falling asleep with the rest of the party. And I think that's where we're going to end for today, even though it is a shorter session. I think this is the best stopping point we're going to get to in the near future. Plus, I think if we end here, we're more likely to get Alveron in properly as they come back.
Yeah.
So, I want to thank everybody for joining. I had a lot of fun with this session. It was very interesting. The cast talked between the break about some of the stuff that was happening. It's fun. I really like that these players like to talk and think about the campaign a lot as it's happening, kind of consider their characters very closely. I hope everybody watching enjoyed it. There's a lot more talking in the chat this time, which is nice. I always like to see that kind of thing. As always, this will go up on YouTube shortly, as soon as I can. YouTube takes a long time, but
gotta make a thumbnail.
Yes, yeah, Jack, get on that thumbnail. I'm gonna crack the whip.
It's gonna be ready in 4 minutes.
Yeah, those are much easier. So thank you all for watching. And this was Jack. Do we have a title name?
I think it's going to be something. I think it's something like walking through the woods.
Okay.
Because I feel like that covered most of what we're doing.
You'll know on YouTube, but
yeah.
Thank you all for joining this third session. Again, I hope you all really enjoyed it. And as always, a good one.